the total U.S. debt jumped $473 billion over the last 3 weeks alone to a record of $35.8 trillion. That means that the U.S. has taken on $1,450 of debt for every American over the last 3 weeks alone. Watch this. It also means that the U.S. now holds a record of $103,700 of debt for every American. In 2024, the U.S. paid a total of $1.16 trillion of interest on the debt in its first year above the $1 trillion mark. In interest alone, the U.S. paid $3,360 for every American in the fiscal year of 2024. So watch this. Here's what I want you to understand about this. The $35.8 trillion in debt that they own. They've paid $1.16 trillion in interest, which means they still haven't even touched the debt. That's the part I need you to understand. So let's say, like, your house note is $3,000, right? You might be paying $1,900 in principal and $1,900 in interest and the rest in principal. So what they'll tell you is, yo, once you pay that, go make another $1,000, another $500, and that'll go straight to the principal. And that's how you pay your house off early. Because you gotta service the debt. Ain't no debt free, right? So when you pay debt, you got to pay the debt because somebody said mortgage is a scam. Scamish. And we said scamish, I'm with you, right? So we got to understand that $1.16 trillion, Jose, is just the interest. It ain't even tapped into the $35.8 trillion. America can actually owe you when you buy bonds. So that's what America is saying. America is saying, hey, that's why, watch this, Jose. Watch this, gonna be good. That is why 80% of the money that's in circulation now did not exist 10 years ago. Because it's digital. It's made out of thin air. It's simply saying this, Jose. I want to buy a building. This is essentially how this goes. I want to buy a building. I don't really got the money to buy the building. But guess what I'm going to do? Oh, I'm going to say it a different way. I want to upgrade the building. I don't got the money to upgrade the building. So what I'm going to say is, hey, I'm going to go create these bonds, which is essentially IOUs. It's essentially saying this, Jose. I'm going to create these bonds. These bonds will be worth a certain amount of money. So I need $100,000. I'm going to go write 10 bonds, and they worth $10,000 a piece, right? They worth $10,000 a piece, right? So off these bonds that's worth $10,000 a piece, I'm going to just use a number that we all can understand, but it's definitely not like this at all. I'm going to say, I'm going to give you, Jose, I'm going to give anybody that give me $10,000 for these bonds, I'm going to give you 10% on these bonds. So that means that's the coupon rate. Right? So if you get the $10,000 bond, I'm going to give you 10% of that bond, which is what? $1,000. Now, I'm going to say these bonds mature in 5 years. So that means for 5 years, I'm going to give you $1,000 a year. And then at the end of the 5 years, I give you the $10,000 back. That's how bonds work. Now, of course, America will never give you 10% on no bond. You getting something like, watch this, Jose. That is why the bond yields are important. Oh, so when you see the bond yields is what telling you what America is paying on the bond. So when you see the 10-year bond is at 3% or whatever, that's what they're paying. Watch this, so let's go a little further. That's why when Warren Buffett and them was getting those 20-year bonds, those 10-year bonds. If you got a bank, this is why your bank was saying, hey, come buy these bonds right quick so we can lock you in. Why they wanted to lock you in? If you had a really good bank, like if your bank they was like, hey, yo, come, let us get you in these bonds right quick. Why? Because the yield is at 4.7%. Remember when the 10-year was at 4.7%, 4-point-something%? Well, what they was doing was they were locking you in, saying, hey, we'll get you in this yield, and we want you to take advantage of this 4.6% while we got it, because once the bond yields go down, you miss out on it. So my bank was like, hey, Trap, Mr. Howard, look, let's get you in so many bonds so you can get this passive income every year so we can lock you in on this money. You feel what I'm saying? And they're like, yo, it's just free money for you. Why? Because you're not going to get, watch this, because you're not going to get this with the money in the savings account anyway. And the savings account only giving you 0.01%. But because you this type of client, let us get you 4.57% on, so many thousands of dollars. You'll get that money every year, and then we will give it back to you. Let's lock you in right here. You feel what I'm saying, Jose? So here's what happens. So that's what happens with America. So America is saying, hey, we're going to get these bonds because we trying to keep building up. But what happens is that bond is a debt. Now watch this. Here's see that 10% on that 100,000? So that 10% on that $10,000, that's the interest. You feel me? So they saying, all right, now watch this. Let's go a little deeper, Jose. Let's go a little deeper. The crazy part about America is countries that we don't like is buying the bonds. So here's the crazy part. Our enemies is who really buy Japan, China. So Japan just took China. So first it was China for the longest. And now Japan is the number one. And then watch this. They all had more bonds than the Federal Reserve. Now the Federal Reserve, watch this. Oh, we're going a little deeper. The Federal Reserve is actually not an entity with the government. The Federal Reserve is an independent entity that's owned by the 6 major banks and the families in America, and they get a percentage on every dollar that America makes. Oh my God, we getting a little deeper right now. That's why I told y'all go read the book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. It's not even that I'm smart of y'all right here. This is just a great book to read. So China and Japan used to be the largest bondholders, and then the Federal Reserve. Now, the reason why the Federal Reserve was so important was because at least they were working in the favor of America. What you don't want is the people who don't like you to owe them money. Because watch this, Jose. Watch this. Watch this. It's going to be good. I need them to zoom in on me right here. The minute China says and Japan says, hey, we want cash out. We don't even want the interest on the bonds anymore. We want to cash out. It now puts America in such a bad position, we could literally belly up overnight. Because it's a long game. Watch this, you give your enemy enough rope to do what? Hang himself. You give your enemy enough rope to hang himself. So that's why you want the Federal Reserve to get the bonds. You don't want, but here's the thing about it. When you greedy, what we talked about earlier in the opening, bad decisions compounding. Now watch this. Bill Clinton left office, America was in a positive. We had what's called a surplus, meaning we was good. And I'm not saying Clinton is the reason why we was in the good, but what happens is it's hard to be number one forever because growth is necessary. Now, let's go a little further. This is just, so let's look at America as a company and not a country. we have had poor management for some years. We have been run by management that has not focused as much on growth and infrastructure as it is on greed. So because we focused on greed, the debt has consistently grown. And watch this, the people has suffered. And so once you get $35 trillion in a hole, here's what happened. You are now, like Drake said, you are so far gone. And now you need a management. And so this is something I said for the longest. I don't care what the candidate's talking about. Ain't nobody talking about the deficit. I don't care about the, listen, I don't care. I'm not saying it's in a bad way. I do not care about taxing the rich and doing this. I care, what are you going to do to start chopping this 35 trillion down? Because if you don't chop this 35 trillion down, the America that we know will be no more. Now, here's what I will say. The America that Donald Trump is saying is great again, we ain't never been a part of that America. We missed that part of the vote. But America, on the backside of it being great again, we have partaken in it. Okay? It's two different Americas. The America that he is talking about that was great, it was great off the backs of free labor. Now, if we go a little deeper into that, okay, Jose, I'm cooking right now. I need you to let me cook. Don't even trip on me. Tuda, don't let me trip. After I cook this, we're going to go to flush it up, flip it. Right? Don't trip. The America, give me a charge. The America that was built on free labor wasn't the America that was great for us. But it was a business deal that was going on. All right. I get it. Trap. When was America ever great? Okay, let's look at it. There was a point in time where America was the richest and the most powerful. But that America was built on the backs of free labor. Now, any business that is built on free labor has no choice but to be great. Because you don't have no debt. Because you're not playing it. If I can build this business into the biggest media company I want it to be in, but I don't got to pay Jose, I don't got to pay George, I don't got to pay Tootie, I don't got to pay rent, I have no choice but to be a great business. I have no choice but to be a great business because the overhead does not go into employees. The overhead only goes into growth. So this is the reason why a certain group of people said, hey, people up north, y'all got us twisted. Why do y'all got us twisted? Because there was a point in time where Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi, Georgia, Texas were the richest states in America. New York ain't have the most millionaires. Connecticut ain't have the most millionaires. Maine ain't have the most millionaires. New Hampshire, they wasn't the richest states in America. The richest states in America was Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Mississippi being the number one, Georgia. Because if you're building it off of free labor, you have no choice. To go even further, I learned this from, I can't take this one, I learned this from Mr. John Hope Bryant. If your bank is older than 150 years old, they actually had slaves on the asset balance sheet because the slave was an asset to the company. So when you list your assets, why is the slave an asset? Because this is free labor. There's no overhead attached to it. This is how the Civil War comes about. No matter what they tell you about, the Civil War comes about because the North is saying, hey, and I'm gonna be real with you. Watch this. This is what people not gonna like. This is what people not gonna like. The North did not like the idea that the South was so rich. It had nothing to do with we want to abolish the slave. Okay, I'm talking to you and I need you to understand this ain't what they're going to show you in the history books. You know why? You ain't never in your life heard of cotton fields in the North. There's certain hemispheres within the American boundaries that you can grow certain stuff. Cotton ain't growing in Delaware like it's growing in Georgia. Tobacco ain't growing in New York like it's growing in Louisiana. Cotton in Mississippi ain't growing like it is in Connecticut. So the North said, it's too much money down there. We got to equal the playing field. And the only way to equal the playing field is to abolish the thing that is making them so rich. And that is freedom people. The South said, get out my business. I don't care what y'all got going on up there. And here's why. One man said this to himself. Y'all charging me too much for that cotton. You're charging me too much for that tobacco. You know how I go. Hey, bro, you getting that for free anyway. Hey, bro, you gonna charge me for that? My dog like, bro, you stop counting my pocket. Either you gonna pay it or you ain't. Because if you ain't gonna pay it, I know somebody in Connecticut that will. And so the people up there say, hey, check this out, bro. They doing, that ain't popping down there. They tripping. They not just taxing us. They triple and quadruple taxing us. And watch this. We don't got nothing to counter that with. We don't got nothing to counter that with. Because at the time, cotton and tobacco was top tier. And then it got a little further when my dog go on and create the cotton gin. He took it to another level. So don't let them tell you in school and your kids that the Civil War was because they just wanted to end. When have you ever seen, I ain't gonna even finish the rest of that. You know how to finish that. You know how to finish that sentence. If you don't, use some context clues. Because Jose don't want us to get banned. The Civil War was about money. And the one thing, I'm going to say this. I don't care who don't like this. The one thing we know that them old white folks was greedy. You making more money than me, and I don't like it.